in just so you all can get ready. I would like for this, if you want it to be part demo today. And so just as we're waiting for people to log on or to come on to the meeting, if you can go to brightspace.shepherd.edu. Does everybody see that? Okay, go there. And the other thing I'm going to recommend, and you don't have to at all, but if you have quick access to a PowerPoint, a Word doc, or a PDF, any of your course materials that you use, if you have those accessible on your desktop, you can work along with me. If you want, you don't have to. I didn't prepare you for this, but I thought learn by doing is, it's a great way to make it happen. Okay, but we'll go ahead and get started and welcome everybody. My name is Kate Hoof and I'm the instructional designer for Shepherd, and Rich Lanham, the instructional technologist, is here with us today, and he's going to answer your questions in the chat, and also he'll stop me along the way and tell me that there are questions in the chat. So put your questions in the chat. You're also welcome to stop me yourself. That's completely up to you. But today it's going to be a crash course in building your classes in Brightspace. I just want to welcome all of you to Thursdays in the Workshop. I know that spring semester was probably very busy with you, and when I was teaching a full load, I never paid attention to anything outside of my classroom, and so I welcome you because you are now ready to get started and to think about Brightspace without having students and grading papers and planning and everything that comes with teaching. So I'm happy that you're here. Okay, today we are just as I have a few announcements, but just if you want to follow along, I recommend that you have easy access to maybe some of your learning materials. You don't have to have all of these by any means, but these are some of the things I'm going to show you how to add to Brightspace today. And so if you have a syllabus on your desktop somewhere or a PowerPoint deck, a PDF or doc file or video, that's great. You can follow along, and I'll give you some time to follow along with that. If it's not ready or you don't want to learn like that, and that's fine, you can watch the recording. I'll have it posted by tomorrow morning, and you can watch the recording and rewind as much as you want with that. Okay, so if you have a syllabus, anything like that, I can show you how to load those to your class and you can follow along. Okay. I have a few brief announcements, just some updates with Brightspace, and then and I promise I will record in just a second. I don't know if I am recording right now, but have announcements. I'm going to give you a tour of Brightspace. And we're going to talk about specifically today about the content tool and everything that you can do with the content tool. We're going to practice with adding existing content. I'm going to show you how to create an assignment and to plug that assignment into a module. I'm also going to show you how to create a discussion board post, how to plug that into a module. And then I'm also going to show you how to add your files, PowerPoint specifically, into a module, as well as videos and on and on and on. There's all kinds of things, but the process is basically the same. So once you learn how to add one piece of content to a module, it's a similar process for anything that you want to add to your modules. Okay. A couple of announcements first. We communicate about Brightspace in 3 main ways, but we're also adding one more. We have the Brightspace team, which everyone is a member of, and the Microsoft Teams is like Facebook. It's just a scrolling screen of information. You can post questions and post information, but that's also where we provide updates, and so you may get notifications for that. And then we will also post information about Brightspace as well as the recorded trainings, not only on Brightspace team, but also on the CTL webpage. There's a Brightspace implementation page on our CTL website. And so you can find your way to that. We will also email it to you. We have one more, and Rich started this this past Tuesday, but we're going to have these town hall meetings. And these are really just open office hours every Tuesday from noon to 1, where either Rich or myself will be there to answer your questions. And you can hop on and hop off of a meeting, and we will post this link inside the Brightspace team, and we will email it to you on the morning of the meeting. So every Tuesday morning, we will send out a link. You just click on that and you will appear. You don't have to stay on the whole time. If you just have a quick question, hop on, hop off. It's a great way. I can tell you, one of my professors a couple of years ago, when I was working on going through a program that I was in, I had to learn statistics, and this is how I learned statistics. So if I learned statistics in this way, the English major that I am, you can learn Brightspace in this way. I have full confidence in you, okay? We're gonna go ahead and go to the demo. So one more time, if you look in the chat, you're going to see the link, brightspace.shepherd.edu. And then you're going to log in with your credentials, okay? Now you're going to see a misspelling in my title of my course, and I was trying to fix that, and there is a way to fix that. I was trying to fix that 3 minutes before our meeting, so please ignore my typo, but it's just a course that I'm working on. So if you're logged into Brightspace, what you will see and what everyone will see is our Shepherd homepage for Brightspace. This is just a general homepage where at the university level, at this point, this is where we can put announcements in. These little boxes that you see, they're different kinds of widgets. And so there's information on here now about training. There's information, some links that you can click. These are quick links that you will see every time you log into Brightspace. And as we use Brightspace, well, at the university level, you may see different announcements here, either from CTL or IT services or campus-wide. We haven't figured out how to use these announcements yet. But you will also see a visual outline of the courses that you have access to. And you will also see up at the top a 9-dot waffle, and that is the course selector. It's just a list of the courses to which you have access. So you probably see a course with your name on it with Sandbox, okay? Before we get into those, I just want to show you around a little bit of this homepage. We talked about these widgets. And so that will provide you with different information that the university will provide. And then we have the course selector here. These buttons up here is where you will get your notifications. And Rich, the one thing I'm not clear on is this email message alert. These are just messages within Brightspace. Is that correct? Or will that be linked to university email?
I think it's the email inside of Brightspace. But
okay.
It's your Shepherd email.
But it is Shepherd email, or it's not?
I believe it's Shepherd email.
Okay.
That's something we'll have to figure out as we go.
So. Okay.
Kate, I have a question. Well, sure. I sent my students an email from there, and I CC myself, and I got it.
Okay, perfect.
Great.
And you got it through your Shepherd. You got it through your Shepherd email.
Yeah. So it does work.
Perfect. Thanks.
You also can get it through the app. There's the Brightspace app that I've noticed I've gotten things on there from that as well.
Right. And so, yes, in the Brightspace app, if you go to anywhere where you get your apps from, it's called Pulse, Brightspace Pulse, P-U-L-S-E. And so we can give you information on that in Teams, but I know that your students will be all over that because they can check their grades, they'll get their announcements, they can turn assignments in there. It's great. Okay. And so this is where you can get your email. This is where you'll receive notifications. For example, if you have some items to grade or any updates that it will let you know. And then these are subscription alerts. I don't know what that's for yet, but if you see something pop up that's red, just check it and see what what it gives you. Okay. But we are not in your course. This is just the home page. Okay. You will see this every day. You don't make any changes to this. Really, the use for you is you go to this 9-dot waffle here. So you can go ahead and click on that. And I'm going to go to a course that I'm working on. It's actually the summer training. And so if you would please go to your sandbox if you would like to follow along, or even to a course if you see one of your courses listed. And I'm going to give you a quick tour of your course or what you will see in front of you. And again, I apologize for my my typo here, okay? But I will be fixing that. So
I have a question. In there, when we're picking out courses, are all those courses sandbox? Or just?
you will have, Andrew, everybody will have one sandbox with their name on it, or you should, okay? And then as course shells are being created or have been created, and so you should see course shells in this selector, ones that you are assigned to.
So you want us to go to the sandbox course?
You can go to the sandbox, yeah. It doesn't matter, but you can. I know that you've been building your own course, and it's up to you. Okay, anything that you do in the sandbox or in your own course, you can always undo if you mess it up. Okay, but you won't. I have full confidence in everybody today. Okay, if you want to get back to the Shepherd homepage for whatever reason, you would just click on the Shepherd icon, and that will take you back to the original homepage for the whole university. But if you notice the homepage that I have here, I know that I'm within my course because I have Designing for Online Instruction here. So the name of your course, so you'll be seeing Sandbox, probably your name with the Sandbox on it here. All of this up at the top here will remain the same, okay? And if I click on my name, or if you click on your name in the top right-hand corner, you can set your account settings, which is important for you to, if you have any accessibility settings that you would like to control, this is where you would do it. So you would click on your name and choose account settings. So there are all kinds of ways that you can make Brightspace look and set it up so that it is accessible to your needs. And then also you can put in a profile picture and put in some information about yourself. Again, it's within the profile. And then the last thing that's important about this item here is that you can view any class as, I can view it as an instructor, or I can change it. And from this menu, you will be able to view it. I have they gave me all of the keys to the car, which I don't know who did that, but they did. So I have a few more choices here, but you can certainly view as instructor or view as a learner. And so you're going to use that a lot. So if you want to see what your students will be seeing, this is how you do it. You would just select learner there, and then everything that you go into from that point, and notice it says under my name, Kate Hoof, as learner. Okay, everything you go to at that point, you will see it as your students see it. Okay, does that make sense to everybody?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so to get out of that, it wasn't intuitive to me, even though there's an X here, but to get out of that and to go back to your instructor view, just click on the X to get out of the learner, and then you will be able to view it and hit change. I'm going to go ahead and view it as an instructor so you can see, so I can see what you would see. Okay. All right. So the heart of everything is in content. I mean, I know that you see a nav bar here where it's course home, content, assignments, discussions. You see all these things here. The nav bar for right now is the same for everybody. And we did that just to make it uniform for right now as we're all beginning in Brightspace. We look at the summer and fall, the feedback we get back from instructors from the summer and fall. I'm sure that we'll have feedback on, hey, we really like this, or I don't like this, or I need to do this. That is when we will collect your feedback on what do you want in the nav bar, how much do you want to change the nav bar, that type of thing. Right now, it's locked down. And so just to get everyone started, and so it's uniform, mainly for students. Okay, so that's the thinking with that, but it will, we're going to make, I'm sure, a lot of changes based on feedback after initial uses. Okay. The heart and soul of your class and where you go to build your content and where students will go to find the content is with the content tool. So go ahead and click on the content tool if you have it open. And once you're in the content tool and once students are in the content tool, you all will see the same thing. Okay, you're going to see this list over to the left. And typically when I do these trainings, I'm speaking to you as if you were going to be teaching an asynchronous course, because that would be a fully built online extravaganza. Everything's in it. Okay. If you're teaching a face-to-face and you're using Brightspace as a supplement, you're going to use some of these things that I'm going to talk to you today. You might want to create a module, but you probably won't be using it to the same extent, but the way you do things and the way you add content and create content will be the same. Okay. And so whether you're using this for fully asynchronous or for hybrid or high flex, you go to content, and where you see your content, you will always see something that looks like this to the left. Now, Brightspace uses something called modules, and modules are simply file folders that you organize to put your stuff in. And these file folders or these modules, I organize them by lessons or by weeks. You might decide to organize them by units or themes, chapters, however it is you organize your course, that's the best way to do it. And I recommend, I know that Sakai had a lessons folder, and then you could break it down from that one folder. This is the same but different. So I recommend you do if you're going to use multiple modules, that you do a lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3, or week 1, week 2, week 3, so that we see them all here. Okay. Yes.
Is each week a different module, or are all the weeks within one module?
Yes. So in Sakai, you would put all the weeks inside a lessons module or something like that. I set it up, and you can do whatever you want. I'm going with the recommended standard practice. Okay.
Well,
But so each week represents 1 week of work.
is it one module or
a module? Yes, a module is this, the way I have it set up. A module, I have lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3. Each one of these items is a module.
okay?
Okay, I have lesson 1 module, lesson 2 module, lesson 3 module.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes, the amount of content or the number of weeks for each module is up to you. I just do it week to week. Okay.
You can
All right.
also do chapter by chapter. Like
You can absolutely chapter by
1.
chapter. Yeah. Themes, units, however you want to break it down. Okay. Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and start up at the top before we add stuff to these modules. And let me back up a second. Right now I'm in lesson 1. To get into different lessons, you simply click on it. The number that you see as an instructor is the number of items within that module. Okay. Students will see your numbers will always stay the same. Okay. Unless you add your content or if you delete your content. Students' numbers will decrease as they look at each piece of content. Okay. So within lesson 1, I have an intro. This is a training course. Okay. So I have an intro to the module here, and that looks like this. When I click on it to open it, I build with introduction where I can put learning objectives. I can provide a brief, and I'm going to show you how to do this in a few minutes. I do a brief description. I put in the objectives. Okay. I can click on this arrow here to go through, or I can just use the breadcrumbs at the up at the top to go back. And this is learning content here, where I get into this. This would be your teaching. This would be your learning materials. This is the place where in this particular training, I talk about objectives and learning goals. I added a video, some more content. I added another video, and I included a link. Okay, so that's learning materials. And I also want people to read about backward design. So again, this is just a sample course. But again, you can see where I have some little bit of content and then a video and then another video. And then I included a podcast, something to listen to. Okay. So these are two examples of ways to show your content, to present your content to students. But I'm going to but I haven't shown you how to do that yet. And I will show you how to do all that. Okay. Before we get into building modules, let's click on overview. Okay, get your syllabus ready. Okay. In overview is the place where you can't change the name of it, at least not that you can't change the name, it's just an overview. And so if every single person in this training added a brief description about your course to overview, and then added your syllabus here, then that would be uniform for everybody across campus, for all of your students. You notice I have, as I hover over this box, I can click on it, and that brings up an HTML or a text editor that you're probably familiar with from Sakai. Okay. So if you do that now, you can go in and type and say, type in something. This is this is all about my course. Take my course. It's the best thing ever. Okay. I just wrote a brief description, welcome. I wrote a brief description. And now I want to add my syllabus. And once you type something in this box, you just click on update and it will be there. And I want to add a syllabus. So to the left of add attachment, you see this little arrow, and Brightspace is drag and drop. So I have this nifty little, let's see, I had a syllabus out here somewhere. Let me go ahead and find it. Have it in workshop folder.
So you have to drag it. You can't just upload it. I mean, there's not a little box that says upload file.
I don't see it on here. In modules you can, but here it's just, unless Rich, correct me if I'm wrong, here it is just drag and drop.
Oh.
Okay. I don't think you like that very much, Cindy. Sorry about that. So I'm going to go ahead, and I have something that looks like a syllabus. So I'm going to go ahead and grab it from my workshop folder, and I'm just going to drag and drop it.
I was going to say, if where it says overview, if you click on the little arrow, you can click add attachment there.
Okay.
And then go to my computer.
Let me go ahead. I already put an attachment here. And so let me go ahead and click. Thanks. There you go, Cindy.
Hey, that's pretty cool. Like it.
My computer. And then you can upload it from here.
Perfect.
Okay. So let me go ahead and find, it can be a PDF. It can be a Word doc. I'm just going to grab a random PDF. I swear I had a syllabus in here somewhere. I'll pop that in, okay? And then you click add and your syllabus will pop up here, okay? It can be 50 pages, it can be, 2 pages, whatever you need it to be. Okay, so we clicked on overview, and overview is a great place to provide a brief description of your course. To get into this text editor here, it's just click, type in your stuff, update. If you want, you can, this button is the same in any text editor that you see in Brightspace, and it's called Insert Stuff. If you have a welcome video that you want to create just within Brightspace, this is where you can do it, okay? And so this can also be a great, if you have a simple orientation to your course, you could certainly do your welcome video here. And I just clicked on that Insert Stuff, and I would say add a video note. Okay, so when you say add a video note, and then this is going to be applicable, it will work the exact same way if you want to give a short lecture or explain something to students. It works the same way throughout Brightspace. I can hit new recording, and this is a little weird. You see multiple Kate Hoofs here on the screen. Stop recording. And this is a little weird. You see multiple, very weird. I would click on next. Title it. You can add a description if you want. Brightspace is great because it helps you make your courses and your course materials that you create within Brightspace accessible. Okay, so meaning you can add captions. So choose English underneath audio language. Click on automatically generate captions from audio. Click on next. And you don't have to wait for it to process. Video always takes a little bit longer to process. Just click on insert. And the video will appear here. It only appear there because that's where I had my cursor, but you can make the video appear anywhere where you have your cursor. And again, you don't have to wait for it to update, just hit update. And there's the video.
So where's the video saved to? It's not, you don't have to save it anywhere?
What it does, it's saving in the background, and any course documents or any videos that you create are actually behind the scenes. And if you click on course tools in the top right-hand end of your navigation bar, click on course admin. And course admin is the backbone of your course. That's where everything is. Okay. And you go to manage files. And that video is in here somewhere, and you can see everything else that I added to my course. So anything that you add to your course or create within Brightspace, this is where it lives.
So you can delete it. You can delete them from there.
You can, but it may create a broken link in your.
Well, if you record a video and you don't like it, I mean, you're not going to publish it or whatever. So you want to get rid of it. So
I would get rid of it from the overview itself. Okay. So I would delete it from the overview itself. And I can, by just going to click in here.
And
So I clicked inside that gray box again, and I'm going to get my cursor ready. I'm just going to delete it. Okay.
oh,
Does that make sense?
yeah.
Okay, because maybe I want to use that video later. Maybe I want to use it. And this is true for when you add content to your modules. Okay, I would just delete it from the module because you might want access to it later. And if you delete it from where it lives behind the scenes, it's going to be gone forever.
So, and when you said they insert stuff, when you went to insert stuff, which one of those I missed that? Which one did you pick for the video? Add video notes or video note search?
Yeah, so I went to video note.
Video notes.
Yes. So
Okay.
over the course of the semester, you might, it depends on how you decide to build your classes. You might want to create all of your videos, which you can. And then you might add them later to different modules or use them later. So then in that case, you would do a video note search.
So we won't be able to do a video right now because cannot access your video or audio. Please allow access to your recording device using your browser. So
You may have to, there may be some preferences or settings that you may have to adjust individually, Andrew, to do
okay.
that. Okay.
It might be a pop-up that's saying disallow your video.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So for that overview, again, I just clicked in that gray box and that brought up this HTML editor that probably looks familiar to you. You've seen that in Sakai. And insert stuff. I can insert all kinds of stuff, but the one thing that I did insert was I created a video note. Okay.
Kate, I have a question.
Sure.
I went ahead and uploaded a syllabus in the way that you described.
Okay.
And so it's sort of like embedding in Sakai. So you kind of actually see the physical item. Is there a way of uploading something such that you just have the URL present, or just have like a one-line description of the item that a person could click on? Rather than having the sort of like the physical item.
Yeah, the way I would handle that, you don't have to add the attachment here, but you could certainly add that link to the HTML box here.
Which is where?
So this box right here. So where I wrote my description, I could certainly take a piece of that, and then the link, click on the link here. And if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, click on URL, and that's where you would put in that outside link.
Oh, I see.
Does that make sense? Okay.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, sure. Okay. And again, these tools that you see right here, and we talked about insert stuff, and I briefly just went over link here. They work the same no matter where we are in Brightspace, no matter where we're adding. Any other questions about overview and adding a syllabus? All right, let's go ahead and create a new module. Okay. I want you, I'm real big on, and this is just a reminder, I'm showing you how I do things. You're going to figure out how you want to do things. Okay. One of the things that I'm a big proponent of is the way we present our content and the aesthetics of presenting content. And so in short, I want my content to be pretty. Okay, for lack of a better term. I taught English and communications and ran a mass communication specialty center for years. And appearance is as much a part of communication as your writing is. Okay. And so I'm going to show you how to incorporate and how to use templates that will help you teach your content, because they look good, and they not only look good, more importantly, they're accessible. Okay, they're accessible. So let's go ahead and build content in a module. You're going to go to the left-hand side of your screen if you're following along with me, and you're going to click on at the very bottom. Your list is probably shorter than mine, but you're going to click on Add a Module. And that box then becomes active. And this is where you can name it week 1, week 2, week 3. I'm just going to call it practice module. Okay. And I hit return. And I'm in a practice module.
Yeah, Kate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey, Jim.
hi, Jim here. Good seeing you again.
Good seeing you too.
Yeah, I guess good point. And what I'm used to from where another school that I teach at that has Brightspace is that they're not called lessons, they're called weeks.
Sure.
So I'm glad you went over that. So I see at the bottom there, I could go ahead and name my modules if you want. Week 1.
Yep.
I guess up to gosh dang week 15.
You can. You
Maybe I
can.
won't do it that way now that I'm sobering up. Yeah, but because the one course I teach is 8 weeks long, so that's not a killer. You know, you're not overwhelming someone. But okay, good point. I appreciate
Yeah,
that.
you can organize it and name it based on what you want. I once had a professor that her modules had enough content for 3 weeks at a time.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so and as a student, I knew that I was progressing through the different pieces of content, but that way you didn't have 15. Okay, like if that bothers you, but it may not bother, that again, that's the personal preference that.
Well, it is weirdly enough, I guess. Yeah, if I have week 1 through 15 weeks, at least it's kind of a way to walk someone through. In other words, this turns out to be a syllabus in and of itself.
You're
In other
organizing,
words,
yeah, you're organizing your content. They can see it all laid out. You could also name a module weeks 1 through 3 and
right.
have, right? And so, you might have a longer list of items for 3 weeks worth of stuff, but you could do that. Okay, so there are lots of ways to do it. There are lots of ways to do it.
So on the modules, are there dates that it can be opened and closed? I'm mostly concerned about open because I don't let chapter 2 open before I'm ready.
Right.
So I want to set the open days, but once it's open, it's open. I don't really care, but.
Right. Cindy, you were a perfect segue because I am in my practice module. And if you're following along and you open up a module with me, you can have your practice module, and this is where you do it. You click on, these are your release conditions, and you would just click in these boxes to add your start dates and times. They can be due dates, end dates. I haven't played around a whole lot with this, but this is where you would do that. You would have different release conditions. There are 1,000 release conditions. That's too much for the scope of today's training, but it has to be, maybe they have to submit something, or maybe they have to complete a checklist, whatever that is, you can set those conditions here. But the most basic level, you can certainly set the dates, the release dates for sure. Okay. So again, where I went to go to that, there's right underneath the title of your module, it says release conditions. And I just clicked on that. Okay. So I'm going to hit cancel.
Can you make it so it's available for the students to see, but they can't get into it? In other words, week 5, they see week 5 and the dates, but they can't click and get into it.
That they can see it and read it. I don't know. I haven't looked into that as a student, but I will. And I'll post that information in Teams, and I can also email you. I'm so sorry. Mike, was that you who asked that question?
Yes.
Okay.
Mike Daly.
Yeah, Mike, I got you.
Yeah, because I think for some of them, you don't want to, you just want them to see that we've got a week 5 or 6 or whatever.
Yeah, they'll be
don't
able to
want it all.
see that those modules exist.
Good.
My gut says that they won't be able to see what's in it.
That's fine.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So let's go ahead and upload. And yeah.
Hey,
Yes.
really quick,
Side of-
I have a question about due dates versus end dates. So
Yes.
if something is due, say at 5 o'clock on Friday, but it's not, I don't want it necessarily to end because I want them to be able to go in and still see the information, but not be able to submit. Will the due date, is that a hard cutoff? If I want a hard cutoff, what do I have to do?
The hard cutoff, I think is the end date.
Then how do you, how does this work where I want them, like, for example, if they take a quiz, I want them to submit the quiz by a certain time, but after they take the quiz, I want them to be able to go back in, review their answers, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If I end it, they can't see it, correct?
Right, so then you would use the due date, but I'm not 100% on that. Okay, so and Rich, do you know the difference between the two? I think this came up in a previous training, but I didn't retain that information.
I did a test with the assignments tool,
Uh-huh.
and you're able to submit after the due date. It just marks it as late. I did not test it in the quizzes tool though. It's probably a similar process, but you have to test that to see if it works. I can test it and let you know probably tomorrow.
Oh, so that's not what these due dates and end dates are. This is just for the module, but then you're going to have other due dates of the specific assignments in the module?
Yes, yes.
Depends on how you set it up.
Yes.
It's possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so modules, if you're going to use modules, which, you know, if you, again, I'm talking to you as if the, you know, for fully, you know, for a pretty full build, right? If you're teaching face-to-face, you may not have 15 weeks of modules. Okay, but if you have to support students who you're never going to see face-to-face, modules are a good thing. So inside a module, you're going to have your learning materials, your PowerPoints, your videos, your files. You're going to have your assignments. You might assign a discussion. Those are the contents, all the stuff that you want students to learn and do, activities. Those would be in modules.
But there's
Okay.
going to be different due dates and all that.
Yes,
for discussion
yes.
forum, open and close.
Yes, these dates and restrictions here refer specifically to this module. Okay. But everything you create just about, like for quizzes or discussion boards, assignments, those dates, you create specific dates for each of those items.
Which would be in a module.
Yes.
Maybe.
It might, yes, yes. Okay, so let me show you how to add stuff to a module. Okay.
I guess one question while you're doing that is, which day would oversee which one? So the modules, you know, if you have a day for a module, then they can't see the module. So like I did a test and it's hidden for a student. So, you know, that probably would oversee the other dates. But it's just something you have to be aware of if you want to hide a module, that, you know, that is something you have to keep in mind and keep those dates and what's available to students and so forth. I mean, it was a very similar process in Sakai. We could hide our lessons as well. So it kind of works the same way.
All right, buckle up, Cindy. I'm going to do something you don't want me to do, but I can put in, I can certainly put in a description, you know, welcome to practice module. Hang on, let me go ahead and cancel. Let me show you what I did first. After dates and restrictions, you just have a box and you can add a description. And so this is where I add a description of the module. Yeah, this week we're going to learn about X. You know, it doesn't have to be, it's just sort of guiding your students. Just what would you say at the start of a class or at the, you know, so it's sort of the same thing.
Is this assuming that, is this for people who use lessons in Sakai? I never used lessons in Sakai. I went straight to the assignment and put whatever I needed in that. So would I be using this or not?
I do recommend it if you're teaching hybrid, asynchronous. I think the more distance, you don't, Cindy, you can do anything you want. You can absolutely do anything you want and teach how you want, because it is your classroom and you know what you're doing. What I've seen with best practices for online teaching, and the more distance there is between time and place that there is between you and your students, the more I've seen that architecture for best practices is to organize it in some type of module fashion. Okay. So just FYI, whether you choose to do that or not is up to you. But the more reading I do and the more research I do on it, and that's the recommendation in terms of best practices and the way to go.
I think, yeah, I think what this is going to do, it's going to combine, for me, it's going to combine the assignment tool and the resource tool into a module.
Yes, yes. It's going to, yes. Bits and pieces of the, yes.
Yep.
All right, so this is where I add a description of the module, okay? In the same way that we had that insert stuff, maybe you want to add a video note, just like we did in the overview. Hey, kids, this is what we're gonna do. Get ready, buckle up, okay? You would add that there, okay? I'll say update. I have a whole bunch of stuff on my desktop. Cindy, get ready. Not the way you wanna do it, but I'm gonna drag it in.
But I think you can click on that little down arrow where it says upload, create, right?
You can, but I'm just going to drag and drop. You
Okay.
can. Now, to Cindy's point, you can add a bunch of stuff here. If I wanted to add some documents, great. These are I added 3 PDFs. I want students to make sure that they read these 3 PDFs. Here, to Cindy's point, I can create a link. I can create a new assignment. I can create a quiz. I can create a discussion. Anything that you want to do. I don't know what this is. I don't know what that is. Okay. But that video that we talked about earlier, I can find it and manage files. Right, Cindy? That's like your resource file in Sakai.
Yep.
Right? Got it? There you go. So I can put it there. These dots here on the outside, I can rearrange. Okay.
I have a question, Kate.
Sure.
If you are going to upload in each module PowerPoints with audio,
Yes.
is it better to first upload them into manage files and then bring them over? Because in manage files is like resources in Sakai, as I understand it.
No.
Oh.
I mean, yes, sorry. I interrupted you. It is. Manage files is like resources, but you don't have to use it the same way. You can upload just from here. And I do recommend that you do that.
Oh, so don't go through manage files.
You don't have, no. Manage file, things appear in manage files as you build your modules.
So
you don't,
it automatically will be there
Yes.
as well.
yes, as
Oh,
soon as you add it, yeah. So I would just build,
Okay.
just start building.
That was a big problem I was having. So.
Yeah, I would just build. All right.
Sort of like our web page. When we build our department web page, it puts it all in the media
Yeah,
folder.
it's back there. So there's this one thing that I want you to pay attention to, because if you go back into lesson 2, in my lesson 2, remember how I said I want, it should be pretty, okay? And this isn't, I haven't fully built this out yet, but I'm going to show you how to get to those templates, okay? And then I'm going to show you how to add a PowerPoint. And then that should be good. Then we'll probably have to stop. Okay, but I'm back in the practice module. And right now, if students were to go through this, they would just see essentially a bunch of handouts, right? And there's not really an organization. You have stuff for them. And again, if you're teaching face-to-face, it may be okay. But if you're teaching asynchronously, you want to package it in a certain way. And I think that you can certainly have handouts in a list, but I'm going to show you this next thing to add, and I would use this template for my teaching materials. You click on upload and create, and you're going to select create a file. So this is where you're going to sort of build within Brightspace. And when I click on create a file, I'm going to put a title Let's talk about design. I'll just title it here. This box to the right, this is where you make it pretty. This is where these document templates are. And again, it's really not about making it pretty. It's making it accessible. You don't want to create any obstacles for any of your students, depending on if they're living with any type of, if they have accessibility needs, you want to make sure that they can access your content without obstacles. I always like to use basic page. If I'm doing a module intro where I want to list my objectives, I can do that. But I want to add a PowerPoint. I want to add a video link. I want to create a video. I just selected basic page from my list of templates, from my list of template titles. Now, when I have basic page, you can see that this thing is formatted already. Each of these titles has a specific heading. And I can move things around and change colors, but it's formatted so that's accessible. So then I just go in and I do chapter 1, and I can start putting my content in. Watch this PowerPoint. Okay, I'm sure everybody has a PowerPoint deck that they want to use. Okay, here's how you do it. I'm going to go to, you're going to go to something called, you're going to go to that insert stuff button. And what we have to do is enter the embed code because we want the PowerPoint to appear on the screen, right? We want students to be able to go through it, okay? So how do you get the embed code from a PowerPoint? One thing that you have to do is, let me go ahead and go to Shepherd. I'm going to go, I have PowerPoints. You have to use the web version of PowerPoint. And if you have questions about that, you go to your email from our main web page. And I believe I have some in OneDrive. I have some PowerPoints there. Okay. So I have a PowerPoint here. And I'm in the web version. I see my 9 dots up at the top of the screen here. And I can also share it. The desktop version, you won't have this, so I can help you later. But I'm going to hit share. And hang on. Now I'm losing my so sorry. Now I'm losing my train of thought. Rich, do you know?
You were getting the embed code.
Yeah, no, I know. Now I'm having trouble finding where the embed code is. Oh my gosh.
Were you just going to share your file? Is that basically what you want to do? Or
I wanted to put the embed code in to
be honest, I was excited that you were mentioning that because I haven't figured that out myself.
Yeah, there is. I am so sorry, you guys. I had this down and now I am blanking out. Let me try this one because I did this in one of the courses and I did it every day for. Okay.
So you do need the online version?
Yes, you need the online version for sure.
Okay.
And if anyone wants to chime in.
Why do we need
Oh, I'm sorry. It's here. I'll show you in a second. So you go to File, Share.
Oh, okay.
So File, Share, and you want to click on Embed. And this, you can copy it. This where it says embed code. I selected all of that and I'm doing a Command C for copy. I can choose what size, how I want it to appear within Brightspace. So I'll just select this one. I'm just selecting it randomly. So I copied the whole code and I hit close.
I didn't see where the code was. I just put my head down to write something.
I'm so sorry. Yes, of course. It's right here. We go to the week one. You go to File, Share, click on Embed,
Where, I see, embed. Okay.
and it has to be in the web version, not the desktop version. The desktop version of PowerPoint will not have the embed code. And then the code is down here at the bottom. I'm copying the entire thing. I'm choosing the size, how I want it to present, how students will see it in Brightspace. And then when I go back to Brightspace, I have my cursor here. Watch this PowerPoint. I click on this cool button here called Insert Stuff. And I'm going to scroll down and I can choose very last choice, enter embed code. I'm going to paste that code into the box. And I'm going to click next. Then I click insert. And there you go. Okay. When I was in the PowerPoint and I said, File, Share, Embed, this is where I can choose the sizes of how it presents. If I want to delete it, I want the larger size. Remember, just as a review, I clicked on Insert Stuff. I clicked on Embed. I paste the code. I say Next. I say Insert. There it is a little bit bigger. So students can skip through it here.
Is there any way to just, if you have your PowerPoint in your documents on your desktop, to simply drag it into your lessons? I mean, drag it into your module rather than, because I'm not sure how you get a web version.
I will show you how to do that. Not, I mean, after this meeting is over, I can show you how to do that.
But you can still just attach files if you don't want to embed, right?
You do have the web version.
Okay,
and I can show you how to do it.
but is it possible just to drag it in? To upload it?
You need I don't think so, but you can try it.
Actually, I did it yesterday.
Okay.
It looks terrible. It looks terrible.
Okay.
So,
And that maybe I haven't tried like that. I wanted to embed it so it just appeared there. When we were adding, you can certainly add a link to to a PowerPoint, but then it appears as a link. If you bring it in as course from my computer, we can try that. I can't remember if I have a PowerPoint on my desk. Yeah, here we go. So this is, I have it saved on my computer, and I'm trying to bring it in here and we can see what that looks like. Are there any questions on and this may be like 100-page PowerPoint, so that may not have been the best one. Let me try another one. Let's see.
Yeah, I just uploaded the file. Looks pretty darn good.
a PowerPoint?
Yeah.
Did it appear so that you can open it within Brightspace? Does it appear the same way? Embedded in there, or is it a link?
Oh, it's not a link.
Okay.
But mine chopped the pages up kind of, and then I finally found this arrow to hit, and then it presented it the way it should have.
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out, I accidentally uploaded two. How do I delete one of these?
Yeah, I
things?
couldn't figure out how to delete them.
If you're just in that HTML box, you just use your cursor, just backspace to delete.
Oh, I'm not there. That's not where I'm at. I'm under practice module, where it says add description, and then there's a little box that says upload and create. I'm not even in any of that. I'm under
Okay, so I'll give you a second. Let me go ahead and save.
but that looks pretty good the way that worked out.
So just a quick review before I let you go, and then I'll answer any questions if you want to stay on, because we're a little bit over right now. What we did to create something that was accessible using a template. Once you're in your practice module, or you're getting ready to add content, you go to upload and create, and you say create a file. And when you say create a file, you get the HTML box, and you can add anything to that. I chose to use a template, and you can use basic page or blank, whatever it is. And you have something that's already formatted and accessible. And you can start adding content to this template. And the way you add content to the template, no matter what that content is use the button, the main button that you use is insert stuff. And this is where you can grab files, you can find your PowerPoints, you can embed videos, you can go from YouTube. It's a whole list of things. You can create a new video note to add it. Maybe you want to provide a lecture of up to 30 minutes, although with video on an online class, I recommend no more than 6 to 7 minutes per video, okay? But these are all the different kinds of things that you can add to this template, and then you can add your own text. You save and close. You need a title. After you save and close it, to get back into it, to edit it, you can either change the title, you can edit HTML, or Cindy, to your point, you can select either delete topic, or if you just uploaded a PowerPoint.
Yeah, I just did that. Mm-hmm.
Okay, this arrow here will let you do those same things. It's always going to let you delete something.
Okay,
Okay, so that's how you would get rid of it there.
thank you.
Yeah, of course. If you have things already existing and already created, this is where you would find them.
Mm-hmm.
So in today's training, we talked about the overview and how to add your syllabus. We talked about what modules are and the kinds of things that will, how they might be used and how you might use them in your course. We learned how to add a new module, and about dates and restrictions. You can add a description about the module, and then you can add content by clicking on Upload Create. Keeping accessibility in mind, to use a template, I chose Create a File, and I chose to add content using one of the templates. Okay. And then I also showed you the embed code idea. In an earlier training, we were only getting the PowerPoint link. Okay.
If you do it through that, that's all I got. When I uploaded the PowerPoint just now, if I'm in this basic page, this create file, yeah, it doesn't work. But
Right.
it works if you're not in the create file where you just say upload.
Right.
It uploads that PowerPoint and it looks great.
Right. Okay. So you're going to use Brightspace how it works for you when you're teaching. For me, when I'm building a class, I like to sort of just present the information on a page, do these things, here it all is, instead of having students go in and out of clicking multiple things. And so in that way, and I'm glad you brought up that distinction, Cindy, if you do want to add a PowerPoint to a page to create a file, then you would need the embed code. Otherwise, it's going to appear as a link.
Right.
And if you want help with that, I can certainly write out the instructions, and I can create a video for you, or I can just meet with you individually or work with you for the next 5 minutes on here. If you have to leave, we went 10 minutes over. I'm so sorry. Please, thank you so much for your time. Reach out anytime with questions. I will stay on here for another few minutes to answer your questions if you have questions. Just let me know. But thank you so much for your attendance.